Good morning. So, I wanted to share my day with y'all, what happened with me yesterday. So, we get the money that someone blesses us with to go get the stuff to fix Dylan's room. So, bounce up in Davis's yesterday. I put my list down. I'm like, all right, Jared, this is what Lee said we got to have. So, we have it delivered yesterday. And when the guy pulls up, I go to thinking, Lee's going to be tired when he comes in from work. His back's going to be hurting. He's not going to want to be bending over and stuff. I said, I tell you what, I'm going to open this door and I want you to help me set it in the doorway, of the addition. We still ain't got that part done either. So we don't use that part of the house. So I said, it's not going to hurt nothing. He'll be home in a couple hours and then it'll be right in the doorway so that he can just grab it and take it, where we got to take it in the house. When my husband gets home, he's like, what did you do? Because I'd already texted him earlier and I was like, baby, I got 3 or 4 of them boards up where we got to get the floor replaced. But I got a little dizzy headed and my eyeballs started floating. So I had to stop. He said, baby, I told you just to wait till I get home. So, me I'm trying to be helpful, trying to not feel useless, trying to help my husband, be the helpmate. When he gets in, I discover that in the areas that I couldn't just get the board up, what?
I can't find shoes.
I'll come help you in a minute. I just take the hammer and, beat it out. Well, in doing that, I split the boards going underneath the hallway in front of the bathroom. So now he got to go back and fix that. Well, because I carried that same technique on the other end of the room in the closet, he got to go back and fix that too. So while he's doing it correctly, getting the boards, handing them to me so that I can tote them out of the house, because all this stuff is piled in the doorway, I just created another stack. And he come out and he's like, baby. I'm like, well, look, all that stuff's in the door. I didn't have nowhere else to put it. And he's like, he didn't get aggravated with me. And he was just like, it's okay. We'll figure it out. It's all right. It's not a big deal. But in my mind, I was trying to make things easier on him. In my mind, I was, if we can just do it this way, then we can do this around and this will help him. And you know what I'm saying? And not necessarily that the Lord spoke to me or anything like that, but it reminds me, sometimes you think you're doing the right thing. Sometimes you think you're on the right track. I thought I was, woohoo, team wife, help my husband get the floor, that make it easier on him when he got home. But in me doing it the way that I knew, not the right way, I created another issue for him to have to fix. He was already going to have to fix it, but now he's got to go a step even further and fix something else because I didn't have the know-how. I don't have the know-how that he does. So now he's got to go back and fix our mistake in 2 spots. And it's not that he got aggravated with me, but I caused him to have to do something else. And I think that's the same way that it is with God. When you rush into something and you don't fully know how to do it and you just go in there, you may end up tearing stuff up more than you fix it. And then last night I was listening to a message by Perry Stone, and he was talking about shofars, but he says, when they cut them horns off of the animals, they still have to be cleaned out. If you don't, then when you go to blow in it, it still has that old decayed flesh in it, and it creates just this pungent smell that knocks everybody down. So it has to be cleaned out and sanitized, whereas equate that to people. Just because you're called to something, that one animal may have been raised for the sole purpose to harvest the horns to create the shofar. But you as a person, you're called into the kingdom, And God knit you with this one particular reason. You are called for that. That's what your purpose is supposed to be. But you get saved and you don't get sanctified. Then all of the old trauma, the old hurts, the old hang-ups that you have, they're still in there. Those little parts of your flesh that are not getting cleaned out. So when you go to speak and you start speaking to people, you spew all of that dead hurt, that dead trauma, those dead wounds onto people, and you end up doing more harm than you do good. Sanctification is a process. Nobody gets to skip that process. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to do more damage than you do good when you speak to people. So that was my day yesterday, on top of cleaning the goat pen out and playing with the goats and hanging cabbage for the chickens. But that's where my mind frame was yesterday. You don't get to skip the process. You do still have to go through sanctification. God has still got to clean things out of you, even if you don't think that it's a big deal, or you think that you've already went through it and you're healed and okay, that doesn't bother me anymore. But maybe it does, and maybe it will have an effect on the way that you minister to people. Maybe it has an effect on the way that you just lead your day-to-day life, and God says, hey, I don't want you kind of acting like that. I need you to clean that up a little bit. And you're like, well, God, I've been doing this for 30 years. It's been working for me. But just because it's been working for you doesn't mean that that's the way God wants you to operate. So maybe you need cleaning a second time, or a third time, or maybe even a fourth time, until you get to the core of, why do I act this way? Is this how God would have me handle the situation? And if it's not, then hey, get you some more sanctification, boo. It don't matter. That way that you are clean the way that God intends for you to be. And then you can be more effective for the kingdom. And you're not going to worry about spewing old dead parts of your flesh onto anybody. You don't have to worry about doing more damage than you do good. So that's my tidbit for today. I'm going to sit out here and watch my goats and drink my coffee. I hope y'all have a good Saturday.